Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on another episode of Weekly Review with Vinnie and Sharifah. I'm one of your co-hosts, Sharifah Hardy, and my other co-host is.
Vinny, how's it going?
How's it going, Vinnie? We missed you last week. What's going on? What's going on?
Nothing much. Wait, you're in a new place now, huh?
No, I decided to hang out my shingle. That's my thing. I said, let me hang out my shingle and let people know, about Ash Sharifah. So that's all that happened.
So basically, you put up Ash Sharifah over Tupac.
Yes. Yes. You didn't have to, mention it like that, Vinny, but yes, I had to put away some childish things and stop focusing on Tupac and get down to business. So that's been my
Wow.
focus is business this week. You disappointed in me, Vinny?
You know what? I'm still a big fan of Tupac. Maybe I need a poster now of Tupac in my background.
Okay, well, email me your address and I'll send you my Tupac poster, okay? So it's slightly used, but it's still whole and good in one piece.
What? So 2 weeks, huh?
Yes.
What's been going on?
Yes, because you had something very important you need to do last Thursday. We had some suspense. So what's going on in Vinny's world?
Well, it wasn't. So it was a ceremony. So for our real estate team, we had a ceremony. We got some awards, and had to be there for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Okay, but that's a 1 second soundbite. I mean, it's a ceremony. They got some awards.
So let me break it down. Just
Break it down.
close your eyes for a little bit, all right? And just
Is this a
imagine.
guided meditation?
What?
Is this a guided meditation?
Guided meditation. So you're in a room with many of people, food galore, drinks galore, and they want to help celebrate what myself and my team have been able to accomplish over the last year. And I guess that's the only way to describe it. If you're friends with me on Facebook or you see my stuff, you'll see some of the pictures of the awards we received. I think some of the old awards. But
So I was trying to see it. I was trying to visualize it in my mind, and I saw this huge room. I saw plenty of food. There was a lot of food too. It was good food. It wasn't, just
it's a lot of
bagels.
vegetarian food.
Mm. But I saw people. I didn't see an invite. I didn't see a name tag for Sharifah. I didn't see that though in my vision.
Oh, you didn't get in the mail?
No, I
Oh
didn't.
man, it's crazy how mail gets lost like that.
Okay, the invite was in the mail. The dog ate your homework.
What are you talking about? Are you saying I'm a liar? How dare you, Shrifa?
No, of course not. I would never say my cousin Vinny was a liar. I'm just saying I didn't receive it.
Oh man, this is just craziness,
Mm-hmm.
craziness. So that was the reason why I had to not make it for last week.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing,
Okay, it's okay.
nothing wild.
But that's a wonderful reason. Your team is expanding. You changed it from Vinny SD to the Enriquez group. So now you're taking Spanish calls.
Yes, yes, and primarily Maribel, if she's listening, she's getting a lot of those calls.
Okay. Okay. So when you change from Vinny SD to the Enriquez group, aside from the name change, what are some of the other things that you decided to do differently?
Well, right now
It's
it's getting
rebranding.
yeah, not much rebranding. It's more of just I guess it's rebranding, but all the advertising pieces we had previously, we're just readjusting it. So I've done a lot of these pieces previously, and now just kind of cleaning everything up, making everything streamlined. So with the other, like as you know, when you're building a business, you go, okay, here's my logo, here's my information, this is my plan, and then you start seeing, okay, well, I need email signature, I need a website, I need this. You slowly start adding it up, and you try to make it as cohesive as possible. Yet over time, there's changes that happen, and sometimes there's a variation from one platform to the next platform. We try to make it as streamlined as possible. And now, with the rebranding aspect of it, we're able to go into each platform that we've already had for the team Vinny SD and switch over to the Riga script. So there's going to be a lot more, I think, synergy through the whole platform.
Mm-hmm. So are you still going to be using the VinnySD.com? There's a whole new website.
No, yeah, it's basically the same website. We just rebranded it on there.
Okay.
So Vinnie SD will redirect you to the Ricus group.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's fun and exciting. Right now, I was designing. Actually, the other day I was designing email signature.
Okay.
Yeah, so
And
that
so
was
what's in your email signature?
so. Actually, so now it's I put the link for the podcast, the
Okay.
Road to Growth podcast, and I had information there. So more synergy through the podcast and the actual real estate aspect of it, because
Okay.
that's kind of one of the biggest things is trying to find that synergy with both. They're
Mhm.
both they're both ways of giving back. Yet this time, and as you know, it's the podcast is more of just giving. Well,
Mhm.
for me, the real estate aspect is where we make our money right now. And
Mhm.
over time, I think there'll be more of a synergy where the podcast will allow some sort of revenue. Yeah, at this time, it's just more of a way to give back to people and hear people's stories.
Okay. Now we do have a question. Tammy would like to know what made you decide to rebrand.
Um, well, so I was always hesitant about rebranding
Mhm.
because, again, my last name is Enriquez. My full given name is very Hispanic,
Mhm.
and I don't speak Spanish.
Okay.
Right? So I speak a little bit. My brother reads and writes. My dad understands it, but my Spanish is so bad because I can understand a little bit of it. And Maribel jokes with me because I can understand. She always thinks I know more than I do.
Mhm.
So I've always been hesitant about using my last name, and I actually got in trouble by the DRE, Department of Real Estate,
Mhm.
for having Team Vinnie SD, and so I had to convert it to the Enriquez Group. So I was forced my hand, but yet with every incident or action, you just have to wait to change the way you look at it because now it's a positive.
Yes, does seem positive, but okay, let's go back to you got in trouble. Why? What was the trouble with Team Vinny SD?
Yeah, so even though Vinny is not my given name, it's a name that people call me about. So they made some rule changes for the DRE, and they're cracking down a lot of stuff in real estate in California. And so even if it was Team Tom Real Estate, even again my name is not Tom. If anyone calls me that name or associates that name with me, or anyone on my team, then it can't be a team name. The only way you can have it, so you have to have a surname if there's a name in there that's associated with your name. And if I said Red Realty, I can use that as long as no one calls me Red.
Okay.
So it was some new stuff that they're really just trying to crack down on it. And
Mhm.
so that was
Yes.
the extent of it.
It seems like cracking down. Tammy says, thank you, very interesting. And Tammy, Fireball Approves, is all a part of cracking down. She's the one I was telling you about that does the rental verification. And she also assists property owners because she vets them. So when they post listings, they can be vetted by Fireball Approves to make sure it's a legitimate listing. And so people are sure it's safer. So very interesting, some of the changes that you made.
Yeah, no, it's like I think anytime you're fortunate at doing something, you just got to say it's a blessing in disguise because it might push you to higher heights.
Right.
What was the reasoning behind having your logo and your information on that? I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. Did someone give you feedback, or was it something that you just woke up with one day and you're like, hey, you know what? I need to really change my my interview platform.
I said Vinny is rebranding, so that means I have to rebrand. Look, even now, you're not typically where you usually are. So this looks like a home office. Okay, this looks like Vinny was like, I'm not going into the actual office. I have some room right here. Let me just pull up the computer and make this happen. So I said Vinny's rebranding, so let me go ahead and rebrand. And this is actually a result of my new telephone directory, the Ask Sharifah telephone directory, which is 833 Ask SDIR. And so that was a result of different interviews. And after I do an interview, people who watch in the archives contact me and they say, Sharifah, what was that guy? The guy that you talked to, and he does that real estate in San Diego. And I'm like, I don't know. So I have to kind of find one place where if people are looking for past guests, people in my network, that they can go and be introduced to them. So I added the directory and I said, how am I going to promote or market this directory? And I said, you know what? I'm just going to put it right there and let it just do what it does.
Oh, that's really smart. How many people have you had on all your shows? Do you have the number?
No, but it's been, I've been doing the video cast, I think, since about January of this year. So it's probably been about 5 months or so. And I do, it was one time I was doing 4 or 5 interviews a day. Now I tend to average, I don't know what it is. Some days I don't have interviews, and then other days I'll have 3, 3 or 4 interviews in a day. Everybody just likes a certain day for some reason. So, I mean, overall, the last, years, it's been hundreds of interviews.
Wow. And so that directory is quite substantial then.
It will be. Yes, I'm building it. I just launched it. Again, I definitely have Fireball Approves in my directory, so she can help people not be scammed online. I know we're going to get the Enriquez group in there somewhere sometime soon. So I just want to be able to, just like you Vinnie, you're always referring people for my show. I want to be able to give back to people and allow other people to find my guests. I had an interview yesterday I had a couple of interviews that were interesting, but I did an interview yesterday with 2 individuals, Thomas Blaylock and Anita Hill. And this Saturday in Irvine, they're doing a tour. It's a workshop. It's called The Road to Home Ownership. And so as we were talking, all I kept thinking was like, oh, this is something Vinnie might be interested in. Vinnie might be interested in this. Mainly because it was a tour. And so they have about 5 or 6 different real estate companies, different realtors who come together and do this Road to Home Ownership tour. One is a realtor, one is the lender, just different people who have different aspects of real estate. So the first one they did was in Inglewood, California last month. And then they have the one in Irvine. I'm like, I don't know, maybe they'll go to San Diego, put something together. But I just thought it was basically interesting, especially with the Road to Growth. And now you have the Road to Home Ownership tour. So I thought that interview was very interesting.
Well, yeah, it's funny. So I'm doing I have an internship, or I'm giving an internship to one of my cousins. Mm-hmm. And I'm always like, it's something like being in a business like yourself, right? There's stuff that you probably take for granted, right? That you say, it seems like common knowledge, right? Yes. I was talking to my cousin. I was like, I don't know what you don't know. I don't know what would be interesting for you. So tell me, what that would be for you. And so he was asking me about, or we were talking about a property that was in repair. And I was like, well, they're probably going to buy the property and then flip it, right? They're going to fix it up and then resell it. And so I'm walking him through that process. And then he tells me later, he goes, I go, and then I asked him, I go, well, what's good information for you? He goes, well, just like that, the flipping idea. I didn't know anything about that. And I was like, it just seemed like common knowledge. So it's just, it's stuff that we take for granted, that people will ask you questions like, don't you know this? Like, so I got to start doing more actually videos. I did a video the other day. I think you'll actually liked it, where it was going over the idea that you can buy a home with no money down on the property. And it's been a lot, pretty much common knowledge for the veteran aspect of it. And now it's like relaying information about, okay, you can do it with FHAs or VA purchases with no money down. But even then there's even other stuff like short sales and so on and so forth that people don't have that common knowledge. Is there stuff that in your field that you've accumulated, or information you've accumulated over the years that you go, that seems like it's in my bones, but it's something that when I talk to people, they're not really aware of it?
Oh, absolutely. And one of the things that you would be really surprised, I think, that I believe is common knowledge, and I still to this day have to explain, is simply website hosting. I mean, more people have heard about SEO and search engine optimization, but when I talk about website hosting, they go, what is a website host? I'm like, oh my God, like we okay, I understand where you are, and then we just have to go back to basics.
Yeah. So they're not aware of like how the whole process works. Like I would assume with the Zoom calling, are most of the I'm guessing most of the people have cameras or able to get access to a camera.
I think people get intimidated with the Zoom and the video cast aspect. I have quite a few people who tell me, when I send them the information or I tell them about the information, they say, oh, I get challenged with technology. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. And then I always tell them, go ahead and connect to the Zoom. And then if you have any questions, any problems, I'm here to assist you. And what I find is that they have, it's simple, it's easy. They don't have any problems, but there's this fear of technology. There's this fear of the unknown where they feel as if they may not be able to do it. They may not be able to figure it out. And it always reminds me, because I always tell people I'm a business consultant, but 9 times out of 10, people just call me because they're unsure about the internet. They want to ask Sharifah about this. I remember in the early days when I was doing marketing, website design, I would have people call me and say, Sharifah, I want to install Yahoo Instant Messenger. Can you help me? And I'm like, okay, let's click next. Okay, did you click next? Yes. Okay, click next. Did you click next? Okay, click next. Okay, did it say finished? Okay, it's finished. So it's like I have to really work on myself. This is an excellent conversation, excellent question, because this is when I have to humble myself, because it's very easy for me to get frustrated and go, dude, like, it's Yahoo Instant Messenger. The instructions are right there. It's not like you're a programmer. You have to program it to work. Just click next all the way through. It will finish. It will install. You can chat. And there are a lot of things like that, but I just take for granted. I've been doing this for 25 years. So when someone just gets into the online arena, it can be a bit overwhelming, because there are people telling them, oh, you can be a millionaire overnight. Just create your website. Oh, you can have 200 million fans. All you got to do is just make a post a day. And there's so much information out there that's inaccurate. So I can understand why people are unsure, and I just try to be patient with them.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. There's a balancing act, because some of the stuff that people ask, if you leave them alone for a day, six hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it might be, they're probably able to figure it out.
Right.
But also, too, you go, I want to help this person out because it could take me a little more time, but it takes you away from other stuff that can probably be a little more productive. So it becomes a balancing act of how much time do you give to those individuals compared to allowing them the opportunity to learn on their own. So I do coaching for new agents, and it's the same kind of thing that happens there. But there's some stuff that I feel that's pretty straightforward, yet it's a balancing act of how much handholding do you do.
It's definitely a balancing act, because when you kind of give them the answers, then they always depend on you for the answers. Whenever they have a question, they call you. Sharifah will be there. Sharifah, and the one thing that I'm so grateful for is that my business is booming. From In the News PR to my new directory to the videos, I'm busy. And busy is good. But yet I still have the people who call and they want to know, Sharifah, what do you think about this? What do you think I should talk about on my Facebook Live? I want to do a Facebook Live, but do you think I should do it inside? Do you think I should do it outside? There's all these different things where it's not just a simple, oh, you definitely have to do it in the most lit room in the house. It's more of a conversation, in which to me goes into consulting. And so I just learned how to transition people from just picking my brain per se to now let's go ahead and schedule this consultation.
Yeah. No, I agree, and that's something that I work on also, is kind of figuring out, okay, well, I'm all about giving back, but I also have to give back to survive and live.
Yes. But that's one of the things, especially because I deal a lot in the woo-woo community, and I love my woo-woos, but often I find that the woo-woo community is so much worse than the mainstream. And again, one of my last positions working for American Express, one of the things they tell you day one when you start as an employee is that we are a for-profit corporation. We are here to make money. Don't get, no misunderstandings. Just so you're clear, we are not a nonprofit. We love people, want to help people. What we are here to make money. When I'm working with people in the woo-woo community, they almost run from the money. They almost push the money away. And so they're like, I just want to help. I just want to serve. And so I had to set up structures and okay, if you would like my assistance, I will offer a free consultation. Go to AskSharifah.com, schedule a free consultation. We'll talk for a few minutes. Other than that, we'll have to schedule a consultation. But it's up to me to set the boundaries. People in the woo community, what they do is, like, let's have a session. Everybody has sessions. And then after 29 sessions, they go, well, I didn't make any money. I'm like, that's because you're doing free sessions. You know what I mean? Like, you have to decide that you are in business. And that if you're in business, you have to make money. But it's up to you as the business owner to determine your revenue source. That's my point that I always talk about, is you can always help people, but in helping, where is your revenue source? Just like the road to home ownership tour they were doing, they kept saying over and over and over again in the interview, it's free, it's free, it's free, everything's free, parking is free, we got food for you, it's free. But I'm sure, being realtors, that they know where their revenue source is, because they're like, come in, we'll get you pre-qualified. I'm like, this ain't free.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. It's getting the door and then converting them to a lead. It's so I'm on the, I think we've talked about the past. I'm on the YMCA board of advisors for one of the YMCA's down here, and so it's a nonprofit, and you see how they work, and it's a fine old machine. I just helped, and I've interviewed for the podcast other nonprofits, and you kind of hear where they are. Some of them are very early in the process, some of them are late in the process. And it's even in that sense right there, where you're trying to give back. There's one that I actually just reshared on my story for Instagram. And he's in the very early stages of it. And he's trying to learn about, I need to actually make money, because he charges basically nothing for the people to come there for his boxing clinic and his boxing teaching. Yet, he's trying to give back, but he's trying to find a way to survive. And so he's learning that balancing act of, okay, even though you're a nonprofit, you still have to make some money to allow you the ability to grow.
Okay, well, this is what you tell him when you talk to him again. And if you're not going to talk to him again, then you're going to call him and reach out to him, okay? But tell him, ask Sharifah, because this is one of my biggest passions. People, it's been my experience, right? I haven't done any surveys or research or scientific tests. But it's been my experience that many people start nonprofits, yes, to give back, but people have been telling them that if you start a nonprofit, then you can get a government grant, that you can get free money, that people will give you things as a nonprofit that they wouldn't give a corporation or a for-profit. And so they go in, they start this nonprofit, and then they don't have any money, and they wonder why. They wonder what's the problem. And I always consult people on the question, what is your real reason for wanting to have a nonprofit? If you want to help people learn how to box, giving back is the actual act of teaching them how to learn boxing. Just because you're giving, it doesn't mean you have to give for free. It just means you're providing a service to help those people learn how to box. If you're a nonprofit and you're not going after any type of government grants, or you're not reaching out to corporations who donate to a nonprofit, then you're doing yourself more a disservice at being a nonprofit, as opposed to somebody who just says, I charge $100 to teach you how to box.
Oh yeah, no, I totally agree. And that's something he's currently working on, like going back to the YMCA aspect of it with them. Is, man, a lot of their funding, it's like, okay, we're gonna have a big event. Okay, let's go talk to this big donor that's been giving us money. Let's go talk to this donor right here, and he's been giving us a lot of money. And it's like, some of these people, they'll actually give a piece of their estate when they pass away. You know, so you're getting these like huge grants that need to be used, and it's
the money is out there. The money is out there. It's definitely out there. But this is the chink in the armor, as I like to call it, is if you're not going to go after the money, if you don't have a grant writer, then being a nonprofit is not serving you. You have to be able to go after the money. And getting a government grant is not typically that easy. It requires a grant writer who's going to have to write a grant that is pages long, and that can be kicked back simply because, like you said, okay, Nate, when you had Vinnie SD and they wanted you to be the Enriquez group, it's the same thing with grant writing. You may write this grant, have everything exactly the way you want it, and the government or whoever you're requesting the money from kicks it back and says, no, you didn't place this right, you didn't do this incorrectly. you didn't do this correctly, so we're not going to be able to give you the grant. And grants are not like going to get a payday loan. You go in, you fill out the application, you get some money, or any other type of loan. You go buy a car, they approve you. Grants can take years, and that's, they may take months, but grants are not something that's going to happen overnight for the most part. Now, you can do fundraisers and go after people who you would like to donate. But again, if you're not going to go after the money, then having a nonprofit is a lot of people starve trying to save the world.
Yeah. I mean, that's the tough, the balancing act that I see with different people, where it's like, I want to give back, I want to do right. Yeah, like we just talked about, like you said, you got to be knowledgeable about it.
Okay, but then my question is, is that, okay, you said I want to do right. That's why I have the nonprofit. But is having a business wrong? Does it make you wrong to actually charge?
I personally don't think so. There are people, they go, oh, I just want to basically do this for free, but it's not sustainable over time. You got to look at the bigger picture. Like, let's say you have $10 or whatever. You're getting $10, and you're giving $1 to this person, $1 to this person, $1 to this person, $1 to this person. What are they going to do with the dollar? You might be better served by using that $4 you got to give out that day, investing it, making it grow, and then using that money at a later time for a bigger activity, something that's going to give back to more people. Right? I think that's the mindset right there. I think that's kind of where these people are. The idea of giving back, it's like, okay, short-sighted compared to long-term.
Yes, but I personally think free is overrated. It's a word, and oftentimes I'll say it hurts my ears. It really hurts my ears for people to say they're in business and then want to give everything away for free. How are you going to make money? That's the question. And what happens is there are people who have hangups or fear of money, fear of being successful. They really believe that money is the root of all evil, as opposed to the love of money. I'm, to a certain extent, even though, I was born in the 70s, I'm still like a little hippie. And there are two expressions that I love from the hippie days. Number one, when they say ass, cash, or grass, no one rides for free. That's one of my favorite expressions. And it's not that I need the ass or the grass, but the whole point is, if someone's in New York.
Why do you always take us to the gutter?
Because that's where I live. I have to keep it real. I have to keep it real. People over there try to be all high level, all high Vinnie, like Vinnie. And it is. That's what it comes down to. It's the words. But the meaning is simply this. Yeah. If someone wants to go from New York City to California and say we're both in New York, Vinnie, and we want to go to California, and you say, Sharifah, I know you got this van, you're traveling to California, can I get a ride with you? And I'm saying, okay, what are you contributing? What are you giving? And so somebody has to pay for the gas. Why is it fair for me to have to pay for the gas the entire trip? If you don't have money for food, why should I have to carry that load? So everybody has to put in something. They have to give something in order for there to be a benefit. The other expression that I live by and that I love has to do with fair exchange, no robbery. Again, in the gutter, where I love it. But fair exchange, no robbery. So when your product is free, where's the fair exchange? You're giving something.
No, exactly. And even when you want to give something for free, you technically have to charge people because they see the value in it.
Exactly.
That's what the benefit. Like, people, I've seen it for events. If someone's willing to spend $1 on that event compared to getting for free, they're going to go, they're going to enjoy it, they're going to be focused on the information that's provided when they pay that $1, $2, $3, whatever that number is, and it's going to be better served. Instead of getting for free, they might not show up, they might not just listen, whatever it might be. So I totally agree with you. The aspect of free is really not beneficial to anyone.
Free means zero. Free means nothing. Free, what is the value in it? What is, and so I understand lost leaders. Like, again, the Road to Home Ownership Tour. Their event is free. But when you come in, you're going to have, you're being pre-qualified or working with them, you're going to pay for the services in some form or another. There's one of my favorite marketing jokes. There's a marketing expression, marketing joke, where they say you give them free chili and then you charge them $10 for a glass of water.
I think you're going to say $10 for the bathroom.
Yes. See, but you understand, it's like you can have something that's free, but you know where your money is coming from, and you have to go ahead and allow for that. A lot of people, especially, people who just want to speak, maybe they just want to do speaking engagements, want to be out in front of people. They want to talk, and they talk. They have no product. They have no book. They have no, add-on to, once you hear me finish listening to me talk, now you can go and work with me. Now you can go take my workshop. Now you can go take my class, as opposed to just speaking for free. They're going to get burned out. They're going to get tired, and they're going to get frustrated because they feel like, okay, if I go out and I'm a speaker and people come to hear me speak, but yet I'm not making any money.
Yeah. Well, let's get to some of the interviews that you had the last 2 weeks since we last talked.
It's been busy. I did an interview with Tammy Sorrento. I love Tammy Sorrento, Fireball Approves, yesterday. And this was her second interview. This is her second. We have another one planned. She has a book that's coming out. When her book comes out, we're going to bring her back on the show. But we had her on the show yesterday.
When you do a second interview, how does that work? Do you do a recap for the stuff that you've already talked about previously? Do you go refresh on some of the stuff and then kind of venture out what's new, or how do you usually do your interviews for a second time through?
Usually there's a high level of, this is the person, they were a previous guest. We talked a little bit about this because we brought Tammy Sorrento on initially the first time to talk about her company, Fireball Approves, her rental verification services, and actually what she does. So within her company, which is probably one of the reasons we were talking about branding, is she made a change. She brought in a new CFO who's definitely going to take the company to another level. So she came back on the show to introduce her CFO to the Ask Sharifah audience. So that was the second interview. So when people make changes, like I'll speak to people and they schedule their interview and they may ask, they say, Sharifah, I have a book that's coming out in September. I really want to go ahead and do your show, but it's June and I don't know, the book is not going to be ready. And I just simply tell them, that's fine. You can always come back. So I have people, Tammy Sorrento is not the only person who's been a guest more than once. I have quite a few people. Toby Gant, I was able to speak with Toby Gant over the last 2 weeks. He came on, and Toby Gant is, he does conscious consumption, which is his focus. And that's getting people to consume healthier foods, get rid of toxic products within their homes. But this was his second appearance on the show. But people who tend to kind of be in my world, again, part of the Ask Sharifah directory, because Toby Gant is in there as well. I try to build a relationship where they don't just come on the show once, whether they're a sponsor, whether they're in the Ask Sharifah telephone directory, but that we move forward. So those are like two of the interesting interviews I had over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm debating on bringing people on for the second time for my podcast, and also debating the idea of a Zoom platform for people on a podcast, because the people that I've introduced you to, they're out of my current area, and there's probably other people that I can actually interview that would be out of the San Diego area. And so I've thought about it because all my stuff is face to face for the podcast Road to Growth. Road to Growth. And so they're out of area. And I'm like, okay, well, should I bring on the Zoom platform? Because I like the face-to-face aspect of it, and I think for the interview podcast, it makes it just so much cleaner compared to being on Zoom. Yet you would have the opportunities to talk to other individuals to get face-to-face with them.
I love the Zoom. I love the Zoom. Yeah, so Frances joined us. She said, branding can be difficult. Thank you for the subject. You're welcome, Frances. Vinnie and I just started the conversation. I was a little curious about why Vinnie decided to rebrand from Vinnie SD to the Enriquez Group. And so we like to bring you information and topics, subjects that can benefit all of us.
Yeah, the one thing, I don't know if we talked about this. So and I'll get on to the people that I actually interviewed. Yet for the branding aspect of it, I think we've talked about it for Instagram for The Rock,
Mm-hmm.
right? How have we said this one? Where
No.
look at his stuff, right? He either has himself waking up early, going to the gym, or helping people out. That's
Mm-hmm.
only stuff that you'll see on his Instagram post. And so I always look at, okay, well, what kind of stuff, when someone looks at my Instagram, what do they see? What does that tell about myself and our team? And so that's going back to the branding. It's really figuring out, okay, well, what stuff do I put out there? I want to give some realness to who I am and who we are, and I want to show the truth of what we do, go after. And there's some people I think that show one side of it, but I like to be very, very open. So it's kind of a constant debate. And I think I have more of a structure to it now.
Mm-hmm.
What we're putting out, but
I had a lady, and I'm going to be in trouble because her name escapes me, but Verbeck was her last name, but she was over 60. At 60 years old, she decided to publish 2 books. She was an academic editor, spoke for a lot of different colleges for students. And then at 60, she decides she wants to write fiction. And so she wrote 2 fantasy books. It's a trilogy. She's already published the first 2 out of 3. But what was so interesting to me is I have this 60-something-year-old lady talking to me about Instagram and how she uses Instagram. And she was so funny. I love speaking to certain age people because they're so funny to me. They're so cute because she kept laughing and she was like, my crazy mind, my stupid mind. I'm like, no, it's fine. But she was talking about how she uses Instagram. And so she learned from, as she calls them, the millennials, how to use Instagram, what to post, what to say. And she was like, I think it was her son who told her that you can't type with both hands. You have to hold the phone on Instagram and use one thumb. So that's what she does, because that's what the millennials do. They use a thumb to type when they post. So, and I said that was very interesting because I always have people who say, Sharifah, I really want to promote my business. I really want to market, but I don't know what to say, that there isn't anything interesting for me to say. And so what this 60-something-year-old lady does for Instagram, promoting her 2 books, is she goes out and she's inspired. She walks her dog, she walks through the woods, and she says anything that inspires her, that's what she posts, because it inspired her. So she feels like it'll inspire other people. So I thought that was kind of interesting and unique.
yeah, I think that's a great way of looking at stuff. One thing, so I look at, we've talked about it, that I wake up at 4 a.m. every morning.
Yes.
And so I have 3 different Instagram accounts. Mm-hmm. So I have my business one, podcast one, and then I have my personal one now. Mm-hmm. And so it's so funny, someone was telling me that, because my personal one, all I basically post is my gym routine at 4 a.m. Mm-hmm. That I'm waking up 4 a.m. And then the podcast one, it's about basically the individuals that I'm interviewing. We'll take a picture together, or it'll be a clip of the actual podcast. And then for the business one, it was a lot of comedic memes and that kind of stuff about real estate and the real estate activities. And now I'm doing the choice avenue of what would you rather have, this bathroom, credit this bathroom as a piece that goes on once a week, and then the other one is kind of market stats. And I'm almost leaning towards those 2 as kind of my go-to, but I still want, like she's saying, like she's doing, some kind of motivational piece that gives back, because I really feel that everyone needs a little bit of motivation every once in a while. I know I do. I listen to motivation stuff on a consistent basis. Probably every day I probably listen to at least an hour and a half of motivational stuff. So I'm assuming other people are like myself. Mm-hmm. Trying to find out what that piece is. You're not?
No.
You don't listen to any kind of motivational stuff on a daily basis or weekly basis?
No.
What was the last motivational thing that you listened to?
I couldn't even tell you. I can tell you it wasn't in 2019.
Are you serious? Wow. Okay. So have you heard of was it David Goggins?
No, I have not.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's David Goggins. Yeah. Oh my gosh. This guy's impressive. Like the first long distance run that he ever ran was 100 miles.
Oh wow. That's about 99.5 miles longer than I would run. Just so you know.
If you listen to the guy, he's impressive. So like one thing that I've, and I know we're going on a tangent here. One thing that I've started to listen to him.
We're always on a tangent.
Going off the motivational aspect of it, I was like, you know what? What I'm going to do starting Monday, I'm going to see how many days in a row that I can actually work out without any rest day. Kind of just pushing myself in and that kind of thing, because that's his whole thing. He pushes himself in some kind of activity, and he says that allows him the opportunity to know who he is as a person. And so I hear these little motivational pieces, and I go, wow, that's something pretty powerful right there. Like the idea of waking up at 4 a.m. That wasn't really my idea. It was a motivational piece that I listened to, and I go, wow, I mean that it is true that when it's so powerful waking up at 4 a.m. knowing that you're awake earlier than anyone else. I get done with my morning routine if you are just waking up.
No, I know the feeling because I'm up at the same time. I'm just not up at the gym. I'm up working.
Well, you're up eating bonbons and relaxing, watching COVID.
No.
You told me that last.
I'm sorry?
I think you told me that.
No,
you tell me that?
No, I said, see, this is how rumors get started, Vinny. This is how the rumors get started. I watch Maury Povich. I love Maury Povich because I love suspense. I love wondering what's going to happen. And I love when the females be like, oh, I am 1,000% sure he's my baby daddy. And then Maury's like, you are not the father. And it's just very interesting. And look at Val decided to come and join us and come to work 42 minutes later. That's okay. We still love Val. But yes, so I do love that. But at 4 o'clock in the morning, what I'm doing is looking at all my emails, all my social media, because I don't even sleep that long because in my mind, something's happening, somebody's doing something, somebody's saying something, and I need to be aware. So I get up, I look at my social media, I check my comments. Like you, I have 3 different social media accounts.
What are your 3?
3 different Instagram accounts. I have my, for one of my companies, which is inthenewsmagazine.com, which is busy. It's like a TMZ type site. So it has its own Instagram, In the News Magazine on Instagram. Go ahead and follow that, In the News Magazine. Then I have LNS Live show. And that's my Mondays at noon show that I do with Lucinda, LNS Live. And so Lucinda said, we have to create the social media. We have to create the Instagram. We have to create the Facebook page. And I'm like, okay, the last thing I need is another page to manage. But it's okay, because LNS Live is something that we're really excited about. We're wanting to expand. We have the website, lnslive.com. And so, okay, yes, let's create the social media. And then I have Sharifah Hardy. So at Sharifah Hardy on Instagram, go ahead again, follow that one. But on all of them, Sharifah Hardy is the one, it's primarily business. There are hardly any pictures of me. If there are pictures of me, those are pictures that someone usually has taken or I've taken at an event. I don't sit and take selfies. I don't post a lot of pictures of myself. If you want to see motivational quotes, that's the account that will most likely have the motivational accounts. I don't sit and listen to motivation for an hour and a half. It's not because I think I know it all, not because I think I reached a certain level. But what I find is if you listen to a certain person specifically, over time, and to a certain extent become a follower of that person, then your message tends to be a little bit sound a little bit like theirs. So what I like to do is I like memes, quotes, things that people post. And I like to think about those and have conversations. But to sit and listen to someone else speak for an hour and a half, it's not going to happen. It's not on a daily basis.
Well, I would assume, the way I look at it is people have other life events than I have. Someone could have walked in my shoes. Yeah, there could have been one incident where they did something totally different than I did. And that one incident could have changed the way they look at life. And so it allows me the opportunity by listening to people for motivational pieces to go, okay, where has their life taken them? What can I pick up from their world? And I don't have to digest everything and say this is all truth. Yet there's probably some tidbits and information that I can use to help me out. Or like someone reached out to me just today a lender. So I get reached out by lenders all the time saying, hey, I want your business. You know, we want to basically work with you. We see you do business. We see your team does business. We want to work with you. And I was telling him, I go, I'll sit down with anyone. It doesn't matter who you are. I'll sit down with anyone. And the reason why I sit down with them is the idea that sometimes they might be a good partner. It might be a good partner to grow, and they might be offering something that another lender is not offering, or whatever it might be. Yet there's some times where I'll hear their spiel, and I'll be like, wow, you just said that in a different way that I haven't looked at it. Or you said a line that I've never heard before. I want to take that tidbit and add it to myself, because that's going to make me a little bit better. Right? So by listening to these motivational pieces, it's not necessarily that I'm going to be a clone of theirs, yet it allows me the opportunity to grow and find a way to grow and look at the world in a totally different manner. Like, I think we've talked about it, where there's this guy named Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he talked about the mindset of how the activities that we do on a daily basis shape the way we are, and we become a program. Right? By the age of 35, we're a set program. So every activity that we do, or anything that happens to us, we're going to react in a certain manner, because that's how our programming is wired. And so if you're looking to readjust and change the way you're wired, change the programming, change where you want to be at, you have changed the activities you are and the way you look at those activities. And so I would have never heard that. Yeah.
No, I agree. I think this is the difference, though. Like, first of all, many people don't realize this or don't know this, but I'm not a phone person per se. Like, I don't like to talk on the phone. I don't even like to text. I don't like my phone to ring. I like silence. But the reason it is because, again, I speak to a lot of people on a daily basis. The conversation to me is the most important thing, as opposed to one-way communication where I'm just listening to someone. So I absolutely love doing my interviews. You know, it's basically an hour where I'm sitting down with someone, asking them about their history, asking them about their story, finding out how do you do it. And especially when I'm in a mode where I'm like, okay, I really want to promote this Ask Sharifah telephone directory. I wonder how other ways to get it out there. Best believe I'm going to interview someone, and I'm going to ask, what do you think about marketing? You know, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And then by the time I'm finished, I usually have a plan, or maybe I'm interested in, you know, new ways to do marketing for a client. I had a client the other day who we made some transitions in their marketing simply based on some information that I received in an interview with someone else, completely non-related. But I was like, how did you do that? How did you get into the retail stores? How did you do that? How did this happen? And he was telling me all the information. So by the time I finished the interview and I spoke to my client, I'm like, look, I got a plan. This is what we're about to do. This is how you do it. And I learned a lot just from these conversations.
Yeah, I hear you saying, and I think that's an ideal way of doing it. Yet sometimes you don't have the abilities to talk to someone with enough knowledge base in that field, in that profession. Like, oh my gosh, if I had the opportunity to talk to the person, Dr. Joe Dispenza, or one of those individuals, yeah, I would, in a heartbeat, get on the podcast and talk to them, pick their brain, and go, whew, that was a good one right there. And sometimes I get the opportunity to interview some great people that help me out the way I look at things. I was talking about one of the guys, I think, that his podcast came out, or his interview came out, I want to say 2 weeks ago, the owner of Everlast. It's a healthy food place, acai and that kind of stuff. He's all about the idea of giving back. And he goes, you know what, I help enough people out, people are going to help me. And it was just a great way of hearing him talk and listening to, hey, you know what, for myself, what other things can I do to other people and help other people, while also, you know, getting some kind of feedback from our own stuff. So yes, I mean, there's great opportunity when you can sit down with someone and pick their brain while also asking a question and getting their word across. Yet sometimes you don't get the opportunity to talk to those individuals.
Absolutely. So I spend a lot of time talking and learning. That's my education.
There's so one of the interviews that I recently did, I know you commented on it. So there was he's basically kind of a personal trainer, physical therapist. He works on like some high-end soccer players, football players. He works with some MMA fighters, and he works on them, protecting them for future injuries. He's from Brazil, and he has just a great network of people, a really, really nice guy. And these people have huge following bases. Yet his social media is very small. I think he has 2,000 followers, which is 2,000 followers, 2,000 followers. Yet these people that he's helping out have 500,000 followers, 1 million followers, 1.5 million followers, a huge following basis that he could pick up with the piece of the pie. But he's scared because he doesn't want to grow his business too fast, because he's trying to find other individuals that have the same educational background for him. Yet he's also he's not aware of how to grow his social media platform. So I told him, I can try to find an intern that maybe can help you out and just at least give you some kind of feedback on your social media presence. So it's sometimes.
Did you go to internships.com?
Yeah, I went to the internship.com and I was able to find out how to post intern, but then finally I reached out to their platform and they told me how to post an intern on there. So I'm actually, I have that on my calendar to do that probably tomorrow and see if I can help them find a person.
Yes, I love internships.com. That's my go-to website. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, it says post, employers post, something to that. And it's really important because it's June, which means that a lot of students just got out of school. So they're going to be looking for something to do for the summer. So this time of year really, it kind of maybe a little bit later, because most of the students start planning for like April or May, for when they get out of school. But sorry, I got distracted. Val's talking to us. But yes.
That's one of our team members. She just had a kid yesterday.
Well, congratulations to Deshay. Yes, congratulations. Was it a boy, girl? What do we have here?
I think it was a boy.
You don't know. We got to work on you and your whole team aspect. You're mean to Val. You won't give her anything but a stick of gum. Team member.
We're gonna put something together for her. Val's leading the charge.
I was about to say, when you say we, that sounds like Val.
Well, Nora too. Let me tag Nora in it. Let me see. Nora.
Okay. So
Nora and Scott, I think, are going to be on there. Scott's been kind of MIA on joining in, but yeah, no, that's yeah. So we'll put something together, but pretty sure it's a boy. I saw some pictures. But yeah, just throw me on the bus.
It looked like a boy.
What? I don't know. I didn't see it with its tail off, so I can't tell you that part of it.
He didn't have any blue socks or a blue hat or nothing.
Oh.
Blue blanket.
Do you realize that I was listening? Have you heard? What's it called? There's a podcast called something about like why it's done or whatever it is. I'll think of the shout out of it. But anyways, so they're talking about, someone was asking, why do boys get the color blue and girls get the color pink? Mm-hmm. And actually, back in the day, it wasn't set like that. And then over time, I think they were saying like the 50s or something like that, then the department stores are the ones who are actually pushing that stuff through. Mm-hmm. And saying boys get the color blue and girls get the color pink. But it was mismatched. Some boys got the color pink. Some women got the color blue. So it was interesting why that came about when you said that.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Hey, talking about boy girl. What's your take on gender reveal parties?
I've never been to a gender reveal party. I want to go. I'm 40 something. Most of my friends aren't having babies.
So if you've never been to one, so I don't my sister did a gender reveal. And they just kind of did a popping kind of thing. When you do for the holidays, you goes boop, and it pops open right there. Mm-hmm. So they did that, but it's like, what? I wonder what kind of gender reveal would be really fun.
I'm sure you're going to be creative. You're going to create something. So we are down to the last few minutes of the show. We just went on a completely different tangent aside from branding and the shows. Yes. So I had a great 2 weeks. I can definitely tell you that. I have some great interviews, great launches. Everything's looking good. 555. Was that the 5?
I'm just saying 5 minutes. I thought you were going to go and tell me the 2 weeks were fast. I was trying to
I was ending the show.
Oh, excuse me, sorry.
That was me summing up the show.
You're trying to cut it off. You're like, I got a hot date right now.
No, that was you. You canceled on us a couple of times because of your hot date. Sending me a message, Sharifah, are we going on? I'm like,
oh, well, that was like, okay, 2 weeks ago. I was waiting. You weren't responding. I was like, oh, what's going on? Sharifah she ghosted me. That's like you're waiting on a date for a meal, and you're like, oh, she's coming. She's coming. Where's she at?
No.
When you're in the single life, how many times did you ghost people?
A lot. That's because you were waiting for that post on a day that I was running, and then you didn't see the post with the flyer. So you're like, are we on? And then I'm like, okay, if you're busy, but that's okay. You want to send your flyer, Vinny, post away. We make it happen every Thursday at 5 p.m. unless Vinny has something to do.
Oh, wow. That one with a butt.
Just put it out there.
Well, on a side note, I'm making a trip up to Santa Barbara this weekend. Any good suggestions?
Go to the Bacara Resort. That's my favorite resort in the entire world. The Bacara Resort and Spa. Phenomenal.
Oh, excuse me, fancy.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. I mean, you might just want to go by there. Go, you know what I mean? Go see it. But that is really one of my favorite. Actually, it is my favorite resort. Santa Barbara is beautiful, which is why Oprah brought a home out there.
Oh, in Santa Barbara?
That's where her large house is in Santa Barbara.
Oh.
Go see Oprah.
Who? Okay. We got 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Who is, if you could get any guest to interview, who would it be? If you get any guest on your show, who would it be?
It's probably kind of boring because everybody, I think, would give the same answer. But I want to sit down really with Barack Obama and ask him some real questions. Like I want to get past the whole polish and ask him, like, was it hard for you in the White House? Did you really want to, I want to ask some hard questions. That's who I want to sit down with.
Yeah. Barack Obama, huh?
Yes.
I think he'd be too good at basically jumping around the questions. I think it'd be very tough to have him on there.
But it would be interesting to have him jump around those questions.
Do you think you've had enough interviews under your belt where you can actually control the conversation?
Oh, yes. This is what I do. This is what I do.
I think he'd be too good. I think he'd be really good. It'd be very hard.
No, not at all. I mean, because I'm not trying to get him to tell secrets or anything or break his cover. I just want to talk about what it really was like, during this experience. That's what I want to know. I want to get to that. I want to talk to him about that. It had to be hard. It had to be hard for a brother.
Yeah. Oh, so just Shay joined up. Man, she must be watching her phone right now.
I don't. You tagged her.
I think she just had her son.
Son. We're going with son. Okay, we have a minute. Who would you interview, Vinny?
You know what? It's so funny because someone just told me about him only like a couple months back, maybe like 2 months ago. Right? Mm-hmm. Shout out to Rose. But it would probably be Gary Vee. I think it'd be very interesting to have him on.
To who?
Gary Vaynerchuk. You heard of him?
I had to Google him.
Oh, wow. Wow, you really... Hey, by the way, did you see First Mexican Heavyweight?
Yes, I heard about that. I saw his, I think it was his manager or his PR person or something, his trainer who was talking, who was speaking about that.
He's a big boy.
Yes. So that's the one you want to have on your show?
No, I had Gary Vee, but you don't know who he is, so I'd have to enlighten you.
Yes, and so we'll be enlightened next week, Thursday at 5 p.m. Thank you for being here today, Vinny. Thank you for everyone for tuning in. We had a great show today, as always. A lot of people who joined us: Val, Ray, James, Dorian, Tammy, Lonnie, Charmaine, Nicole, Barbara, Jen, Mustafa. Thank you all for tuning in. And please go ahead and share this show and go ahead and check out Road to Growth and visit my website, Road to Growth, and visit my website at AskSharifah.com and go on over to VinnySD.com. Everyone have a wonderful night.
Congratulations, Deshae. Congratulations. We'll get you something. All right.
Congratulations, and make sure it's good. Don't get her nothing
Hey, let's
small.
control ourselves, all right? Okay, come on, relax.
Good night, all.
Good night.